Thank you for this, and very difficult to keep up the momentum what was created with the animation session now, and after this I guess it's lunch, so it's been between exactly. So thank you for having me here. It's a great pleasure, and I'm going to talk about the next generation of interfaces, which is very weird, very different. All of us are struggling to understand. I mean, I was also interested to see with this stop motion animation, all of this, how does AI really change the world going forward? It's an interesting era we are all in, and we are in a very, very different stage where it's absolutely right if I say that all the processes that we were following till now to create an interface is not going to be the same. It's going to be completely disrupted. It's going to be completely changed. What does it look like, and what do we as designer community focus on? How do we get to a stage where we understand what is our role in this whole world when the wireframes can be done dynamically now with a prompt, and the designs can be done with the prompt. Everything else can be done using a prompt. So what's the role of a designer? How do we define ourselves into this space? So a brief introduction about myself from the past. Can you go to the next slide, please? Or I can use the clicker. All right, okay. So a brief introduction of about myself is I've been heading different larger organizations, units, which does mainly design. So typically the agencies which were purely focused on design, and SI's integration, which was purely focused on technology, have come together over time, and the roles have also diminished of pure designers with no technology and pure technologists with no design knowledge. Those have all kind of merged together now, and we can see those roles. Today, the designers have a seat at the table of the C-level, and they're able to sit at the decision-making stage, and they're making such decisions as well. So this is what I've been leading from a long time, and also right now I'm with Cognizant, global head for studios, products, and design. So one of the important aspects for every team that we've looked at is winning a good amount of awards, which means to say that the kind of work that we are doing is really looked at by different eyes, and how we are valued from that. And Red Dot, IF Design are all a little proven awards to show that against the industry that we are working with, we can really be at par. And typically I come from with a 2.5 decades of experience. I come from time when India was looked at as a back office and always challenged with the kind of quality India could deliver. And some of these awards really proved that in India we were able to deliver that kind of quality which the world is really appreciated. I've authored some books. One of it is The Great Balancing Act, which is out. It's on Amazon as well. And it also won an award from an excellence in book production. And this is what I brought in all my experiences across the years of how experiences have transformed, and how difficult even till date it is to really match the expectations of the user to deliver the kind of experience that against the expectation. So even the recent market study with AI also came up with saying that the user's expectation is multifold, while the marketeers are not able to keep up to that. When everybody thinks that AI is a magic, everything will happen, should happen, and customers expect us to give it at 40, 50, 60% reduced price. What are we fighting against, right? What quality do we deliver? What thing? Let's understand that a little bit while I was talking about my books. So the other one is more on the holy grail of game design. I'm sure many of you would have played Pac-Man, black and white games, to the world where the whole system of gaming has really changed. And the Las Vegas, all the games have now, you can take families and go there. So it has evolved over time from those. So it's a book on that. And I've been on the advisory board for NRW Germany, which is more of a smart city. So that's an interesting one to work with. The transport ministers to define the lanes, and the whole projects were defined based on what technology do we use, how do we build products. But eventually, when as designers we get into the boards, we kind of define that it's people first. Right? How do we make people as the first important communication, or the first important point to consider for every strategy that comes in? So I've been in the jury, including the own Business World Awards. I was part of the jury. Interesting to know how many projects and a lot of learnings from different parts of the world. and have been a speaker in the global events. Again, that's another passion that I carry. So looking at the subject today, it's more of technology that thinks is obsolete now, and we've been redefining technology, and we've been pushing technology to do more productive work, more active, more faster, more better. But what does it take? We have to make the technology start feeling like that's the revolution that we are in today. And how can technology start becoming another human being? How can it relate to a human being? Imagine a healthcare platform that is training you on what kind of exercises you need to do. At the same time, can it also look at your anxiety level and change the exercises dynamically while you are working out? So that's how dynamic and personalized and how you should feel. Can it really measure that anxiety of mine and change the content relevant to that particular individual? So slowly, that what we are seeing is the interfaces are invisible. You will not see too much of a screens and buttons that is going to be defined, and a flows or a task flows that's going to be defined. It's all about how what kind of a feeling that we carry and how do we engage. So based on the feelings and anxiety, and the person's emotions, the systems have to empathetically change the workflows and task flows. So clearly, right, we've done a lot of task flow analysis, we've done UCD process, we've done human-centric designs, we've done a lot of things. But most of those processes are dead now. The linear is going to be dead. And there is no beginning, there is no middle, there is no end to any of the stories that we are building. And unfortunately, we had a lot of linear ways of drawing how people will flow through, defining the walkthroughs of it, defining the way people will walk through your application or your brand. The shift we are leading is more, it's more of optimizing the experiences through the lens of emotion, safety, trust, and repair. I mean, we had this internal debate also. Why do we have to have repair as one of the important aspect? We have not been transparent enough. How does technology become more human? Whenever you accept that there was a mistake, or whenever there is an acceptance that this mistake was done by us, we are going to fix it this way. So unless you keep it transparent and honest with the users, the experience is not going to be realistic. Experience is not going to be as human. So again, we are in a space where the linear have to move into living space. When I say this, machine learning is more about the data. It's structuring the data for sure. And deep learning has been thinking through how can the same data can be presented well to the user so that user experience is defined and experience is good. But now it is more of designing for the intelligence of, living intelligence that's more fluid, emotional integrity, and alive. We'll talk a little more on emotional integrity today. It's also because emotional integrity plays a major role in how it defines what the person feels when he's attached to a brand. So what if emotional intelligence goes wrong? I mean, typically here, all this is said and done, but escalating stress, if you're driving a car and you are given a constant alarm on some systems going fault or some systems going into an issue, but rather than calming you down from the anxiety, those alerts are only adding more to the anxiety. So how do we make sure that we calm you down first and give you a way out of it, or find ways to solve that for you at that moment, at that situation? This is where the emotional integrity comes into play, of making sure that it's kind of neutralized and it handles the danger for you, and it knows how to calm you down from your anxiety, not just throwing alerts and beeps and all sorts of emergency alarms that could be possibly thought through. And why now? If you look at AI today, I know there is no conference that doesn't go with speaking about AI and so on, but AI today is really spread across all the industries. And it is inevitable, it is all over the place. And the capabilities, if you look at what are the possibilities of AI that we can use in each of this. I mean, I manage a team of about 2,000 people across different countries and different domains, like healthcare, banking, every application you look at, retail, everything. So every possibilities that you can see, what can we do from an experience standpoint is infinite. Today, the possibility is very, very high. But what again plays more is how the choices that we make from the design to use the AI, to use the capabilities, and also across the industries, will either harm or heal. So it plays a very different role. For example, if you are building a platform for educational systems, if students are trying to learn through it, each student is different. Their learning aptitude is different, and that the system should take care of the level at which the people can understand and how they can change the content dynamically and how it is altering what I can learn from, and at my speed, my level of content, and how can I keep my interests. That's what matters now. So the mission should clearly be the crafting AI which is more an empathetic partner than more being functional and just working to the needs. So designing emotional integrity, again, we have done, like I said, we've done a lot of journeys before, user journeys and so on. So emotional journey is not just a task, it's an important thing right now. And capturing multimodal signals. I mean, how many times have we really observed how does the voice feel when the person is talking through our interfaces? It's time to do that now. And what are the facial expressions? And how do we recognize cultural facial expressions? Expressions also are different from different regions. And what is the text? What are you typing text? And what does it convey to me in the culture? How do we relate that? And the physiological body movements, how do we map that? So, prototyping for harm and repair is very important today, and keeping it all transparent. Like cultural audits, how are we doing on these task flows on different regions? How do we map that? So, critical thing is your design kind enough? And how do we make it kind? The kindness is not anymore a tool. It is a tool and not anymore just the softness part of it. And it is also a metric that you have to add it to your design as to who are we truly designing this for, and what feelings do we leave behind, and what are the kind of, there are a lot of bias that we have to make sure it automatically comes with all the tools and technologies that we have today. How do we get rid of those bias, and how do we make sure it doesn't blind us? So, of course, we are not just us, it's many of us, that many of the large international organizations focusing on these, whatever I'm talking about. Stanford has something called emotional mapping as a tool, and MIT is building more ethical AI, and also there are multimodal emotions being built as tools and frameworks that we can use going forward. Contextual emotion, the history, language, and culture, which I spoke about, how do we measure those? So there are many more frameworks coming into play that you can use going forward in measuring this. And typical industry use cases, if you look at this, empathetical AI scheduler for healthcare has actually increased 44% of users when empathy has been playing a big role on that, and when emotions are considered while designing. And reduction of 36% of no-shows have been reduced. An emotionally tuned recommender, if you look at the retail aspects, many a times we have seen retail people going and adding to the cart at the last minute they drop off. And how do we make sure that they are comforted to go forward and giving them the right insight? In fact, all of us are being pushed one way or the other to finalize the deal, click on commit. But nobody is bothered about what is my worry? How do I make sure I give you what you need? And again, reducing depressions, which is again, empathetic CBD chatbot is on mental health, and driver emotion sensing, real time, it's improving safety. So it is definitely all companies which are looking at this from an empathetic angle or an emotional AI or emotional integrity that we are talking about. Whoever is considering these are seeing, this is what Gartner and Forrester is also saying, that we are seeing a 74% of loyalty growth, and we are definitely seeing 60% reduced in neglecting emotional factors. So that there's a major shift from every industry that's going forward. So guardrails, very important. Emotional manipulation, no more giving all that stuff that we can do, which we cannot do. It has to be real, honest now, and full transparency and consent from users. And absolutely opt-out mechanism. We have this. If you speak about some locality today, you will start getting push ads towards that. If you want to travel somewhere, everything starts coming into your Insta and so on. So have an opt-out mechanism. You still have to go on. There is a click which you don't want to go and do that. I don't want to see these ads anymore. And ongoing audits on safety and so on. So clearly we are at the junction where we want to clearly have make tech feel safe, attuned, and more profoundly human. So let's humanize AI, humanize technology. Thank you so much.